Hello, everybody, and welcome to the second event in the series Business Analyst Associate 2024. We are very happy to have you all here. Thank you for joining. We have here in the call and here on the series page the supporting team that we are very grateful for having by our side. Thank you all for making this happen and for putting this together and for putting all your amazing brains to work to grow the next generation of business analysts, UiPath business analysts. So firstly, this is the series page for everybody who hasn't entered and seen it. I hope there's not the case here, but if not, this is the series page. This is where you will find all the events and all the recordings for the events that have happened. So we have 2 recordings as of now, and here we will upload the recording from today and so on. So you will be able to see all the sessions if you kind of miss any of the sessions. Very important to keep up with the learning plans. So for example, today for this specific session, you had here these 3 mandatory UiPath Academy points that you had to go through. So the introduction and the introduction to business automation platform and the methodology fundamentals that you will need to finish until next week. So until the next session. What else? You will find here in the series page all the plans, all the dates, all the everything that's related to the series itself, and the link to the learning plan. You will need to finish it until the series finishes as well. This is where you will find the certification. So if you want to find out more about the certification and everything, you will find the link in the series page. And of course, the forum thread, which is very important. I will leave all the important links in the chat just after I finish talking. And here on the forum thread, you are able to enter, to talk to us, to talk to the mentors, to the speakers, to everybody, to ask your questions. If your questions remain unanswered today, feel free to use the chat. We will also have a Q&A session at the end, and you will be able to unmute yourselves. If you don't get a response in the chat, you will definitely get one at the end of the session. And today Anurag will be our guide and leader to through the session. So I will give it to him. You have the mic. And you're on mute, so.
Perfect. Thanks a lot, Andrea. Hello, everybody. So good to see you all back again. I hope you're having a good time. And we'll start with the session number 2 today. I'll take you through the things which we covered last week, a quick summary in my presentation today. And then we will deep dive into 2 prime topics. We'll understand the automation methodology for traditional business analysis, and we will see how the documentation is done by a BA. And towards the end, we will try to have a comparative view of traditional versus automated discovery. So that is the plan for today. I'm going to share my screen now, and then we can quickly deep dive into the session. Is my screen visible?
Loading, yes, it's visible.
Okay. All right, everybody. Let me move this thing over here. Maybe I can just remove this thing. Oops. All right, all right. So in the last session, we talked about the RPA BA role. We understood who exactly is an RPA BA, where does that person fit in the entire chain, the entire framework of FDLC, the primary stage where the BA gets involved in, and then the respective areas where BA has to perform certain activities. So BA can act as a project manager, can grow as a delivery manager. We talked about those aspects because BA get a view of the entire picture. So that's why there is a particular slide which I, talked where I talked about that journey. And I have got a lot of questions on LinkedIn that, how's that journey possible and can you guide how you were able to do that? So I'll be covering that today because those that particular slide on career progression from a junior BA to delivery manager is an interesting one. And I'm aware that a lot of folks who have joined today and are joining this series are also non-technical, who are not a part of automation, and also they might be keen to move from non-IT to IT. So I'll try to give you a view from a very, very basic, level so that everybody who is a part of this session gets to understand this entire series on automation and primarily the journey of becoming a BA. So let's start with our session now. Folks, we talked about a cycle with which this entire automation implementation happens, right? We talked about a framework where we kick off a project, we understand the reason and the rationale of building an automation, doing an automation, then we get into specific deep dive exercises where we get a view, a scan of the process, and with that we involve our developers and then we move forward. So this is a high level view. I covered this in the last session as well, and I also covered this view, that this view is the implementation methodology with which we proceed further. I talked about areas where BA gets involved. I talked about BAs doing the requirement gathering, getting into discussion with the SMEs, understanding the process in detail, and creating documentation. If I can take you quickly to the last slides, and I think with that you will be able to get a quick view of what we covered. So we talked about business analysis, we talked about the overall fitment and the cycle, and then we understood the roles and responsibility, where exactly RPABA, has to play an important role and what are the areas where this person gets involved, creating documentation, working with teams, pipeline creation, so many things. And then this slide, I think this slide is something which is, you know, triggering a lot of questions, and I'm happy to, you know, speak around it towards the end maybe. And then we talked about the skill set to become a BA and the challenges faced by a BA in the traditional business analysis, right? So I hope this entire section help you to understand that what all uh, skill set you want to grow, you shall grow in your current competency level to become a BA, because things revolve around communication, things revolve around documentation, things revolve around negotiation. So you might have to work on your people management skill, you might have to work on your communication skill to work as a BA. So this session was all about skill set, challenges, roles and responsibilities, and the role where a BA plays a very, very pivotal role in the entire automation life cycle. Now we'll understand how that person, is involved and where exactly this person gets involved. So this particular slide talks about the journey where a project gets kicked off and BA is introduced. So this particular uh, slide will give a view that if the process analysis is happening, then how the BA is able to do the entire set of activities with which we get a 360-degree view of process from which the next set of stages can get triggered. And today I will talk about areas on documentation, that what are those documents, create PDD. If you look at the involvement of a BA, right? So there are two parts of it. BA is not involved in kickoff because the project manager may be taking care of that lead and moving the project from the scratch, connecting the stakeholders, and then initiating the project. Business case validation, where we want to take a look whether automation is making sense or not. If there is an automation potential with which we shall proceed, and then only it will make sense to do the automation. So some level of analysis, maybe L1 level of analysis is done at this stage, L1 analysis. And when you are through with the business case and technical validation, then you understand that we can now focus at a granular level to know about the process. And then something called PDD is created. Test cases are created. As is process is created. So we'll discuss about the opportunity assessment questionnaire today. The questionnaire with which you tend to take those answers from the team. And then we will discuss how a PDD is created and what are all key components of PDD. I'll not deep dive into all the other stages because maybe as a BA, your primary 80 to 90% or maybe 80% time, will go in these two stages. Okay, you will have involvement here for sure. You will have involvement here, but the primary time of yours at the start of the project will go into these two stages. So you will have a role to play, and that's how you get the big picture, the entire picture. But we'll focus primarily on these two stages where L1 and L2 analysis is done. UiPath helps us with an end-to-end automation suite, right? From planning to measuring, planning this entire automation, building an automation, managing the automation, running the automation. For all these stages, we have products from UiPath. So it is a 360-degree end-to-end one-stop shop to do automation, to scale automation, to visualize automation. And with that, you will be able to get end-to-end view of your automation journey. Our focus on today's session is around this particular part where we are an explorer, where we are trying to look into the processes, discover them, and then start the journey to build automation. Studio, is the tool which is primarily used by the developers. BA may or may not use a studio, but a developer has to be using those studios because this is where the codes get created. The development work gets started, right? So we will focus over here, and this is a very, very important slide, which gives a high-level view of the components of individual stage. At every stage, UiPath has built products which are helpful in starting from 0 to 100. That the journey from 0 to 100 is covered from UiPath, and this particular slide will help you get a view of those products which are categorized by three pillars. First is called the discover, automate, and third is operate. First, you identify the potential, the opportunity to move forward. Then you automate using Studio, Studio X, apps. These products are used at a later stage, and once you are able to build automation, maybe using Action Center, AI Center, document understanding, and then you want to govern them, you want to scale them, you want to maybe bring out some insights that how exactly this automation is working and where is the scope of enhancement. If the bot is breaking, what we can do to make things better. So then you are able to operate and scale it up, maintain it, sustain it, and then you complete the end-to-end journey. Our focus will be on pillar 1. I will be talking about two set of discoveries. One, the traditional discovery, and second, the automated discovery. Automated discovery will have involvement of these tools: process mining, task mining, communication mining, automation hub. There is a way with which you can involve tools to get a picture of the process. For these tools, there are specific sessions which are going to get covered in this series. I'll not be getting into the automated discovery in 1 and 2. In the later weeks, we'll have specific session on these tools. My focus area is about the traditional discovery where a BA is involved and BA talks to the SME, get a view with those interactions, and then build a picture whether automation should be done, it should not be done, and if done, then this person builds PDD and then pass that PDD to the developer so that the developer can automate using Studio or Studio X or apps, whatever. Okay, this is how this entire slide has to be understood, and discovery is what we are gonna focus on, and primarily traditional discovery. I hope this is clear to all of you. I'm moving forward now. All right, these are the key activities by a BA in discovery stage. So I will talk about 3 stages in which a BA has to be involved. And if you are able to work in all the 3 stages, you are able to get done with the first 2 stages, right? But this work has to be done in a certain way. And business analysis is a skill, where you understand the art of interacting with people, communicating with them in a way that your job gets done as a BA. You will find a number of challenges where people might not be supporting you. So this job requires skill, right? And to have that job running smooth in a certain way, then you can follow this framework. You can follow this style of doing business analysis, and I think with that you will be having a good time as a BA. So first is setting the stage, right? Understand the ecosystem. Understand who's who. Who's the boss? Who's the big boss? Who's the person to whom you can escalate? Who's the person who is the actual SME? Understand their persona. Understand their style. Understand their ways of working. Evaluate whether this person is a noisy person and this person needs everything in minute detail. Oh, and the other person, oh, he's a bit chilled out. So you'll have to evaluate the ecosystem. That is very, very important. You have to be very thorough and through in your work. But if you're dealing with people, you will have to understand the hierarchy. You will have to understand the domains, subdomains, the main process lead, the sub process lead, so that the dynamics can be used as and when required. And if you are able to get a view of the entire ecosystem, that will help you to build relationship, you know, and then use emotion, sentiment as and when required. Second is identifying the tools. You understand what all you need, right? If you have understood that what all things you need in terms of uh, maybe maybe you need a room with 25 which can accommodate 25 people. Maybe you need something with which this process documentation is required, maybe well in time. I don't know. I'm just saying that you have to do some preparations well in time so that when the actual time to showcase the uh, way of working as a BA, you're all prepared, right? Define workshop schedule. So you will be asked to conduct workshops with the SMEs. So define the schedule properly. Get alignment on the time, right? A lot of time, if you put that meeting and if people have some inhibitions and they are a bit scared that, oh my God, these automation guys are here and they'll take away our job, they might not be joining those calls. So get an alignment, get a proper uh, consent from them that yes, on this week, this day, at this time, I'm gonna conduct a workshop with you, where I will ask a few questions about the process, right? So that I can understand the automation potential around it. So you will have to set the agenda very, very clear, right? So you have to inform the stakeholders well. You should inform the stakeholders well. These things shouldn't be done in an incognito mode that people are not aware what is what and what is a bot. So if that is the situation, then you will have to set the expectations really, really well. Expectation setting in an automation project is very, very, very important. If people are not aware what they are supposed to do, where does their role uh, becomes important, if they are not helping you with sign off, if they are not helping you with test cases, you will have a difficult time in moving the project from stage A to stage B. So it is very, very important that you set expectations about the responsibilities, and maybe you inform about limitation. So this is about setting the stage, right? Inform about limitation. There could be situations where people might think that bot can do everything, that bot has a magical wand in abracadabra and everything is sorted. It doesn't happen like that, right? You have to make them understand that these are the capabilities of bot can do this, bot can do that. But if they are asking something which is beyond bot's control, or bot has a certain limitation, please tell them well in advance that this is not something which a bot can do. I will give you an example that I went into a discussion with a leader, a top leader in a government setup, and this person was not aware about bots at all, and he was not given any download that what this team is gonna do and what is this initiative. He was not aware of anything. He just came into the workshop and he was listening to these words, bots, robos, and this and that. Towards the end, he asked me a very funny question. He asked me, how do you charge this bot? So he was assuming that it's a physical robo, right? That it's a robo which has arms and legs and such things. So people may be at that level of lack of awareness, that people are not aware. There are people who are not aware about this AI wave and automation wave. There are people, and you might be dealing with such people as well. So you will have to be cognizant enough of the entire audience type, so that if you are having some discussions on expectation setting or anything like that, you make your your pitch from zero. That's very, very important. And you should be able to grab and grasp whether the people are understanding it or not. That is very important. Okay. Once you have done all these things, then you initiate an IPA. You initiate initial process assessment. Here you get a view how, I mean, if it's even feasible to do automation, if it's even possible to do automation, whether you should be doing the automation, does it make even a business case or not? And if you are confident that there is a good RPA use case, then maybe you can work with the business to understand the priority of it, whether we shall jump onto it quickly, or there is something happening after which this will be taken care, or if you have done a workshop and in that workshop you were able to identify 24 processes maybe, then you can't jump onto all 24 together. So you will have to do categorization, that this is a quick win, this one is maybe can be done a bit later, this one requires some improvement, this may be done just by doing some standardization, right? So identify and choose a good RPA use case to start with. A lot of time a BA will have an understanding that this process is a low complexity process, and if we start with this, we will be able to get done with the outcome quickly. We will be able to present the output to the management quickly, and then we will be able to gain confidence in the eyes of the management quickly, right? So it is important that you start with a successful run of a bot. So you will have liberty and areas where you can suggest that we shall start with this. Maybe this is just a web automation, it is about downloading a few reports from a portal, or maybe it's just scraping a few information from this website. So I'm just saying that at the start, you have to win the heart of management, win the heart of the operation folks, right? You have to make them believe that whatever you are doing is working and is working well. Okay. That is very, very important. In my personal opinion and my personal experience, we had a start where we were not able to run the bot, when we started with a particular department. And at that time, we saw that there were mixed feeling about the bot. They were thinking, these automation guys, they're doing something, but maybe I don't know whether this bot will work. So there was some negative notion, around bots and automation. So my suggestion is to pick an easy one for the start, okay, and then scale it up, right? If you get a chance to choose. But I believe that BAs can also act like consultant, right? BA can consult the concerned team members, the management folks, management leaders. That, sir, shall we start with this, and make them understand that why you are looking forward to start with this. So once you are done with the identification, then you collate all information in as is and to be and PDD. This is the stage 2, where you have to get specific about that process and identify key details about the process at task level, right? Not a process level, not a high level process map, a task level. The PDD should give a view of as is what is happening today. What is the current situation? What is the situation when nobody from the bots ecosystem is there? And then 2B. 2B means a stage where bot will be involved, bot will be in the picture. And then there will be a comparative view, that as is and to be. And with that, you can understand, envisage that how your automation will look like, and how much time it will be able to reduce. So there will be KPIs, right? Uh, Key performance indicators. Those of you who are non-IT, I'm trying to give you, more detailed information around these things, because KPIs is a very important. I'm sure in non-IT departments also KPI plays a very, very important role. But in automation world, there are certain KPIs which are very, very important, which help us to understand the business case and then qualify those business cases. So one KPI could be AHT, average handling time, right? If the human was taking 60 minutes to do that job, there could be a possibility that the bot is able to do it in 7 minutes, 8 minutes. So AHT reduction, right? That is one area where business case can be built. FTE saving, full-time employee saving. That earlier 10 folks were working on it, but later maybe just 2 are now working, because the 80% of the job is now done by the bot, and rest 20% is done by the human, because for validation purpose we need somebody, so that the final output which goes into system or goes out to our stakeholders or goes out to our customers is validated, depending on the criticality of that process and business importance. So once that view is done, you will be able to understand that this process will give great output to us. So once you are through with that stage, then you document your understanding, you build PDDs, maps, you identify complexity from that, and sign off and client management. So this is a very, very important stage where you have to act very smart when you are looking for sign off and client management. So client management is an important thing, because like I mentioned, client may come up with new requirements every time. Oh, can you do this as well? Can you add this component as well? Can you take care of this vendor as well? It is very important, else your work will never be done. Okay. In an automation project, we work on man hours basis. That we define that these man hours, or this much time, or this much week is what we're gonna take to complete this entire end-to-end work, right? But if you keep on getting enhancements, if you keep on getting new versions of PDD, forget it. You will never be able to move. So you will have to define a point where you say that now we are signing the document here, which means that any change beyond that may be done in a phase 2, okay? Or if any change you want to be done beyond this point will be considered as a change request, CR. Now on CR, you will hear a number of, you know, experiences, because my experience on CRs where we ask the customer to pay again, you know, initiate some sort of, conflict. They're not keen to pay quickly. They're not ready to, spend money beyond what they're spending already, even though they understand that, it was their miss. They were not able to give that information well in time, or they completely missed it. I have been into situations where when we asked for CR, you know, there were things that, people were offended that, how can you ask for a CR? You are doing, you are a partner, you are, stepping into this company, starting with one process. I mean, then you might have to, depending on the situation, right? If you are, not very willing to counter a CR, then you might say, okay, we will spend some more time, we will spend, these more man hours of these folks. Depends on the kind of situation you are in, but ideally a CR should be there to cater the extra efforts. But the best practice is to have clear sign off on the documents, on the UAT documents, PDD documents, so that when you work with them, there is a clarity between both the parties and there is no clash between opinions. And when you and the customer sit for a UAT sign off, right, the bot works as expected, the way they want. Ultimately, towards the end, if the bot is not functioning well the way customer wants, you know, maybe they will not be that keen to use that bot. Okay, I have been into situations where we were able to build the bot, but towards the end, the customer was not using it, because in that process, the customer had to put certain files into a folder from where the bot picks it up, and then the bot moves into further stage. So you will have to understand and get a sign off from them that this is what you will have to do in order to get this bot running. There are certain activities at your end, so you will have to give them the consequences also, that if you don't do this, the bot will not run. If your people miss it, it will not run. Right? We can enable triggers, we can trigger alarms or reminders so that people do it. So, you know, so you'll have to have clear understanding how the bot has to function so that the bot is utilized by them. Because if you're spending time, you should be able to get the bot moving, right? Bot running. Then only you will be able to justify that your automation is working fine, and you have a then you will have a clear roadmap to move further. And when I talk about roadmap, I talk about pipeline management. I talk about uh, pipeline management. So you are able to scale it up. You are able to move it further from one process to another, one department to the another, right? And that's how you build pipeline. I have put asterisk for these three activities. I'll tell you in just 2 minutes. And there are certain activities which you do when you spend more time as a business analyst, and you are a senior BA, or you have some consulting experience or some solutioning experience, and that's how you're involved in things beyond process analysis. You might be involved in conducting bot sizing and pricing. You might be involved in solutioning that how much bots will it be required here to do this automation. So it depends. I have seen BAs doing these exercises. I have personally done these exercises as a BA when I had spent good amount of time as a BA, and I was also involved in building proposals. So from here, you also get a view to build another career move. You can get into solutioning. So as a BA, you can get into solutioning. You can get into building proposals, responding to RFPs, requests for proposals, where there is a problem statement which you have to solve, and for that you might have to build a proposal that this is how our team will be solving it. So as you grow and as you become mature in this business analysis, these things comes naturally. I mean, nobody involved me that you do this, but naturally I understood that how it is being done. With my interactions with solution architects, technical team members, I was able to understand how they are sizing the bot. With my interaction with the sales team members, I understood how they are pricing the bot. And then with my interaction with pre-sales member, I understood that how they are building the proposal. So moving to these profiles is easy because at the core you are strong, you are solid, you understand the basics, and you just have to add your skills, some sort of sprinkling these kind of pre-sales, sales skills, and then if you want to move out in a career which is you want to do that. So delivery management is one thing where natural progression will be there, but if you want to get into other kind of roles where you are doing some advanced business analysis beyond the BA process architect kind of role, I think that door gets opened. Okay. I hope these key activities by a BA in the discovery stages are clear to all of you. We'll have a quick time check. Okay. Now we will move to key things. I think I have already talked about these things that ask a lot of questions. Deviation from agreed maps, affect cost and unhappy clients. So these things you should keep in mind. Never share confidential document. Sensitive information is meant to be dealt very, very carefully. So these are some things which you should be taking care for sure. And on a lighter note, I don't know if you're able to decode this picture, but I'll give you 5 seconds to decode this picture. It's a funny meme, which is very true and very applicable in this automation industry. A lot of time, BAs are in a rush to do something into the new edge cutting tools. Okay. With intelligent automation, you might be having AI center and so many other things, with which as a salesperson, you might be able to woo the customer, but you will have to be cognizant and conscious enough to see whether moving directly to intelligent automation is the path, or you could have taken a different way, maybe a step-by-step approach with which you could have solved this problem, right? It is coming from my own personal experience where I found that we were trying to complicate a few things because we wanted to sell a product, right? There will be situations, your sales team will say that, please do this, please do that. There will be situations, but if you really want a process to be automated in the right way, just see whether you need to standardize a bit before you automate it, right? If you want to streamline something before you automate it. Some ERP functionality are somewhere helpful with which you can make the process automatable. Then you jump onto that journey, right? But do all that homework, the basic things, elementary things before you take a final call, right? And there will be things which are naturally aligned to be used by IA tools, intelligent automation tools. For sure there will be cases which are one-to-one, aligned with a particular Gen AI tool or agentic tool or any tool like that. But as a BA, from my experience, I'm suggesting that think about going step by step, understanding if at process level, can you do something to make the process automatable? Then your journey of automation from the development will be smooth. I hope this is clear to all of you and the message is also clear. Now we will get into the specifics. Okay. Now we are moving into the part 2 where I will have a discussion on 2 prime documents, one PDD and one the process assessment document, which is helping you in the initial process assessment stage to understand automation potential, feasibility, and all those things. Let me show you a document, which is a document from UiPath. I hope this is visible to all of you. And this document is actually a template of doing initial process assessment. This document is an Excel sheet which has a lot of questions with which you define automation potential, you define process complexity, you define process complexity.
Sorry, Anurag. Actually, we can only see the presentation. If you're sharing another.
Oh, okay.
Only the presentation we can see, Anurag. Yeah.
Okay, wait. I'm sorry. Only the presentation's entire screen is what I'm sharing. Is it now visible, folks?
Yes,
Yeah.
it is visible.
Perfect. Perfect. So folks, I'm talking about initial process assessment where we are sitting with the team for the first time, understanding a view about their process and identifying whether the process, how much is the automation potential, how much is the process complexity, how much is the estimated benefit from this automation, and towards the end, you can get a view of estimated implementation effort on this particular automation. So this template is by UiPath, and it's a wonderful template which I have been using throughout my journey as a BA, and it has everything with which you can get a view of the entire process. It has questions around decision making. I'll go one by one, but let me just take you through this document because this document will solve a lot of problem of yours if you are not clear what kind of questions you should ask, how you should peel the onion, right? How you should go onion layer by onion layer and getting into the core of the process, understanding exceptions, right? So this will help you to get a first cut view, right? And there are questions, and for every question there is a scorecard, right? If, for example, if the question is about the process being rule based or judgmental, then there is a scorecard. Exclusively rule based, feasible; exclusively subjective, low feasibility; type of input, unstructured, not digital. Then every type will have a certain scoring, and here you can choose. You can have a drop down. You can choose that which kind of process are you talking about. That medium change, significant change, right? So this will have individual score for individual component, and you can choose, right? This will give an end-to-end view to you to move forward with your questions, and you can start with understanding automation potential, then complexity, then estimated benefits, and then towards the end, your efforts on that. So this scorecard has covered everything from stability, from applications, process, frequency of the process peaks, number of steps, difficulty of decisions, number of applications. So with this, you should be able to cover everything. But my suggestion is to have the basic understanding of RPA. Atul covered in the first session about automation, that what is automation, what is RPA. You should be thoroughly clear about RPA because that is stage one. So those of you who are starting their journey, as a fresh BA or as a non-IT to IT person, or somebody who is not even aware what automation is, even though they are a part of IT, I would suggest that please go through RPA, go through automation, understand, because RPA is the stepping stone. With that, you can get into n number of things. RPA plus AI becomes intelligent automation. Then in intelligent automation, you will have new versions. And this market is coming up with new things every day. But those of you who are starting their journey, please understand what can RPA do. Okay, what are the limitations of RPA? RPA works well with structured data. RPA works well with rule-based information. RPA bot does not um work well where you are using your intelligence, where using your experience, you are taking a decision basis something which cannot be structured in a logic, right? So you will have to have that understanding first, because it's not something where uh, you will be able to relate without understanding that basic concept. So that basic concept is what you should learn. And I'm hoping that the assignments which are being given to you from the team, from the UiPath team, you are completing them, because you'll have to add this learning together. So those of you who are thinking that we will do these assignments later, right? Club those learnings now, because these live session will solidify what you are learning already. So my suggestion is to, side by side, keep on covering those lessons, because it will also help you to get a better view when these next sessions are going to get conducted. So please make sure you are thorough and through with the assignments which are given by the team. These are small assignments. This will not take a lot of time. So make sure you are spending time on them. Now I will take you through this document. So automation potential is what we are going to want to understand. So we are asking, are the decisions rule-based or subjective or strategic? How do the majority of your data input looks like? There could be answers to it, right? And then you have to choose that. Then it will give you a score. Will the process change in next 6 months? If the process is going to change, then don't do it. So this will help you, right? Some change, minor change, small change, then we will define whether the process is stable or not. Application is going to change or not. Today you are doing it in an application which is going to get expired next month, next 6 months. Don't do it. Okay, then you will get a score plus process volume. I mean, are you doing it for the right set of processes or transactions? I mean, if the process is being done annually twice, right, and very less effort is being spent annually, then I mean, it doesn't make sense. Let the human do it, no problem. But if the process is a daily process, daily you are spending half an hour, 1 hour, 2 hours on something which is important to do in order to do something on the process. I mean, that's the basic. Without that, nothing will move. That sort of process are the ideal process to automate. Daily processes, daily people are spending time and effort into these things. So make sure you're able to get a view of the frequency. That's very important. And what kind of transactions are you dealing with? It should be repetitive plus voluminous. I mean, volume is very important. Otherwise, you will have difficulty in justifying the business outcomes, or the business case will be, a bit difficult to be built. So that's what I'm trying to convey. अब चले जाओ अभी थोड़ी देर. And this will help you to understand the transactions with which you have to deal on a daily basis as a COE team member, COE support team member, right? So after the automation is done, then you will hand it over to support team, who will be taking care of these bots when development team is gone, BAs are gone, solution architects are gone, then support team will take care of this, right? So volume is important, that what kind of things you are building. AHT is very important, average time to process this, average handling time. So you'll have to ask questions around these things. Human errors, peak volumes. So I'll go through the PDD and take you through that. But these are the things which you should be asking when you are discussing the L1 level of process with them. How many steps does the process have? 10 to 15 steps. You're not talking about individual step and sub step. No, we're asking about high level step. Decision making. How difficult is the decision making? So if the process involves complex decision making, right, you have to solve a lot of things first to get an output and outcome. Then you can take a call whether it makes sense to build a bot around that, because it involves some intelligence or some thing which are beyond bot's control. So that level of question you should definitely be asking. Exceptions, most important, interesting thing while you ask these SMEs these questions. Exceptions is what you should be definitely asking. I'll cover that exception when I cover PDD. We have to be mindful of the time as well, so I'm trying to cover a few things when I'll cover PDD. Okay, but with this you will get a view that what kind of questions are being asked. Is it thin client, thick client, whether it is running in Citrix or it is without Citrix, number of applications involved, percentage of data which is digital, if the document is unstructured image, right, RP will have a difficult time. Maybe with the current set of tools, with inbuilt OCR, you may still be able to do it, but there could be variations where you are not sure about the accuracy. The images are, I mean, they're blurred, they're not clear, and you're not sure, what kind of output will it generate. Then you might have to maybe validate it with your team that, this is the kind of PDF or this is the kind of document we have to deal with. What do you think? What kind of document, do we require DU for it? Do we require, a particular native, regex or something, at the lower level of document automation? So that is going to get used when you do designing, but you should be asking those questions well in time, because it plays a very, very important role, not just in designing, but also for your commercial purposes. Because if an OCR is going to get used, if a model is going to get built with these documents, images, there is pricing for individual component. So asking questions on scanned structured data, digital input is very, very important. Then benefit. I told you that without benefit, if you take your case to business, they will say, no way, we are not spending this much money on this project. It is not giving me the required output. So you'll have to define those KPIs that we are able to get, this much FT saving. We're able to reduce this much error, right? So estimated benefit is what you need to identify, and this will help you in your business case approval. And this particular thing, estimated implementation effort, this is primarily for you to define whether how much time you're going to take on it, and how much effort you will be spending as your team. So for this, you will have to utilize this assumption effort, where you define all those folks who are going to be a part of this team, of this project, right? And you define that what kind of effort are they going to play. Project manager maybe 10% time, change manager maybe 0.5 time, developer will play the maximum role. He or she will be 100% aligned to the project, right? So every company will have their own mechanisms to do it. This is just a sample. This entire document is a sample, and things will change. Things will change depending on the kind of roles your company has. A lot of time, the I have seen a few cases also, and that's why I'm involving. That's why I'm utilizing my experience and examples of the past, where the BA also did development, right? The developer was so smart that I know a guy who is end-to-end, you know, automation person. He acts like a manager also, he acts like a BA also, he acts like a developer also, he acts like a tester also. I have seen that person, being very good in communication, talking to the business directly, taking the requirements on his own, building PDD for himself, doing the code, and then giving support also towards the end. So maybe in that company, in that setup, you will not have different people, right? There are situations where you might have to step up as a BA. Maybe you are a developer today, but you might have to act as a business analyst and talk to the business. These two roles will not be there. Maybe as a one role you will have 100% involvement, right? So these things will change depending on the company. And then I have not utilized the pricing, because for every role there will be a per hour rate with which you will be your company will charge to the client, right? So those rate card would be there, with which you will have to merge this entire effort estimation, and then towards the end you will get a view at how much time I'm going to spend and how much money you know this entire project will have involved, so that we can charge that cost plus the margins is equal to price to the uh, end customer. And that is what you may be doing in a few years if you are just starting your BA journey. But if you have keen interest, if you have already done project management already, if you are well versed with these things, then maybe as a business analyst, you would be able to do this job as well. And entire assessment can be taken care by you at your end. Okay. I hope this makes sense and this is all clear to all of you. Now this is L1 analysis. Now we will move to a document called process definition document. This is a very, 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 very important document, because this sets the base for the developers to code. Okay, I'll go to the top and take you through this document. This is also a sample by UiPath. So these samples, these templates are available, and I will also be sharing them so that you can utilize them in your work. Let's talk about this PDD for a process called order to cash. Very, very important process in F&O industry, finance and accounting, and a lot of work in automation is happening in this particular domain. So make sure if you are becoming a BA, be ready to have your involvement in order to cash, P2P, R2, or F&O processes, because majority of work in automation is lying around these domains. Okay. This PDD is going to be the document which will be utilized n number of times in the entire automation, because this is where you document things about the process. So here, if you quickly go through this, Maria is the business analyst and Andrew Lloyd is the F&O person whose process is going to get automated. And then we have a solution architect from the COE team, James Peterson, who's going to work closely with the BA to get done with the implementation. So you will have a version of this document, the document prepared by, approved by. So you'll keep on documenting things so that everybody's aware where are we at which stage, where are we from the documentation point of view. And if there is any sort of versioning, you define that versioning, that on 1.2 we created version 1 and we submitted for feedback. This summary will be very, very helpful. So please utilize this. I have noticed that a lot of PDDs doesn't have this, and then same PDD is floating here and there, and SME is opening that old PDD, which confused them and which was not the latest and the greatest document, and people had a difficult time while moving this automation to go live stage. So in this document, you will have a view of as is process description. I talked about as is and to be, and then you will get a view of this objective, that why are we doing this automation. So this process has been selected for RPA, is a part of AR, account receivables, conducted within a company called Acme within finance and accounting department, right? This is department, this is the project, and this is the company. And what is the benefit which we are envisaging? We are assuming and we are projecting that this will reduce the processing time by 80%. Okay. And this will also have better monitoring of the overall activity by the logs which will be provided by the robots. So process will have a visibility, better visibility and better monitoring. That is what these are the reasons, prime reasons because of which we are doing this automation. Then you'll have to write details of key contacts, who's gonna do what, who is who, and this will help you to be clear about the hierarchy. Towards the end, you should be knowing that who is the person to whom you can escalate in case of delays, right? He's the process owner. You'll have to have good rapport, good relationship with Ian, because this person is going to help you immensely in case Andrew is not supporting, and Andrew thinks that no, automation is not good for me. Then maybe you'll have to sit with Ian, maybe diplomatically, or in some shape or form, inform Ian that Andrew is not supporting the way I expected. So these level of discussions, maybe your project manager might be doing, or if you are senior enough, then you can do that. A lot of time I have seen we need to do direct escalations, but as and when required, try to have good relationship with people like Andrew, because they are the one who are the custodian of the entire process, who has the maximum knowledge and who can make this process work, because their support is ultra important. So have good relationship with Andrew, and if required, go to Ian. But what I'm suggesting is that depends on the situation. If required, then you can do direct escalations. Minimum prerequisite for automation, filled in process. So these are the prerequisites which you should have. Access is something which you should be taking care right from the moment you are thinking about creating PDD. A lot of time BAs miss this. right? They have built PDD, they have identified test data, they have talked about dependencies with other projects, but access, credentials, this is where they miss. And then they remember, oh, I forgot, maybe now I shall request this. And this is a very, very, very common problem between devs and BAs. The struggle between devs and BAs around this, that BA identifies it during development. Oh, this access was not there. Can you now enable it? And then you identified, oh, this license will come from this team who is not a part of this core team, who is a support team. Then you will have to raise an RITM. You have to raise a ticket. That ticket will be fulfilled in 7 days. And now you're waiting. Your developer is waiting. The project is on hold. Why? Because the access is not there. And that team, the concerned person is saying that you have to take this person's approval, that person's approval. And in approvals, you are spending and wasting time. So my experience suggests that please be through and thorough with your access thing, and that's why UiPath gives a tracker, an application tracker with which you should be tracking the accesses which you require. So make sure that you utilize this tracker to understand what are you going to need at what stage, and where is the request, what is the request number, which system is it going through, ServiceNow, or you have to mail for it. Depending on the situation, you should be uh, you know you should be sorted with access, because access is a big blocker, and it makes things ugly. A lot of time BAs get escalation because they have not thought about these things earlier, and then towards the end they were you know put into bad spot because they didn't take care of their responsibilities well, right? As is process description, so a lot of things you can uh, get to fill from the automation potential IPA document: process full name, process area, process schedule frequency, peak period, transaction volume, total FT supporting this activity, number of items processed, right? So 450 items per day, they are taking care. 3 minutes is the average handling time, but maybe peak period towards the end of the month it becomes 600, or maybe during the end of the week it becomes 600, and then 10 people are taking care, and then the volume is also expected to increase. That 600 will become more, so 450 will have on a one unlucky unfortunate day where out of 10 people, 3 people are on leave already, 7 are working, and this peak volume came, and then the people are getting troubled, getting burnt out because they are piled up with so much work, right? So, and that's why automation is needed, right? Because those of you who are in operations role or in such roles where you have to deal with certain activities about a particular count every day, you know that you have to hit that count. And if your people are unavailable, they're on leave, it's Diwali, it's Thanksgiving, or any such day where not everybody is working, or maybe the team is mm, half team is on leave, then the situation becomes troublesome. That's why we need automation. So your justification of doing automation will become applicable, because you're going to tell them that volume is going to get increased, and on peak days it's 600, right? So these are some areas with which you can make them aware that this is how you should be doing automation. So applications, you have to lift down all the applications with which you're going to work with, and then as is map. So this is a high level as is process map, but then you'll have to create a detailed as is map, that from start to end, how you do it. Open an email, open the PO, present. If the code is present, then we use this way to do the process. If the code is present, then we take this route to complete this process. So this level of mapping, this level of understanding about the process should be very, very clear to you. And then you should be able to build a map around it. This map will be more of like an MRI scan of the process. And it is one of the best things, with which you can make a non-technical or your leader or your manager or CFO understand what is happening in the process. Ideally, they will be, they might be involved till this end, but this view is very, very important. And if they are trying to get into lot many details, then this view should be there. So you should be identifying as is process steps. So you'll have to write those process end to end, that at what stage we are got, what are we gonna do, click here, click there. So you have to build a KSD, keystroke document. That keystroke document can get attached to this document, KSD. Then you'll have to write all those things that what kind of data to be used, and then you will have to build a view called to be process description. So things which are highlighted in red, right, which it says that these are automated. This is how we are trying to build automation. So where the input is not structured, then only and there only we are going to process it manually. Other than that, entire process is going to get automated. RPA can do this. RPA can get product code. RPA can open the file. RPA can look up. RPA can send email. Bot can do all these reconciliations, validations, manipulations to complete this process. So this entire part is automated as per 2B, and only one part is to be taken care manually by a human. So maybe out of 10, there would be just one FTE towards the end who will be taking care of these processes manually, and 9 FTs will be involved in something else. They might be doing something more constructive, more cognitive, more work where they're utilizing their brain, because that is important. If you are living in 2024, you should be doing something where you're making yourself AI proof, right? And you are spending your time and efforts into decision making, analysis, brainstorming, and all those things. Okay, so in scope for RPA, you have to define what things are going to be there for RPA, what things are not going to be a part of RPA. This is very, very important. Then this is where the conflicts happen. They will try to involve a lot of things into RPA because they don't have knowledge that what RPA can do or what RPA cannot do. But you will have to list down clearly that out of 15 activities, steps 1 to 10 are the one which are going to get automated. Then these steps will not be a part of the automation. Exception handling. This is super, super important. Now, you will be encountered with situations where the process does not flow in the actual way, in the defined way, from A to B, B to C, C to D. It is not happening like that. So there is something unusual in the process, which is which you have not encountered, or which you should be knowing, because that's how the process will get complete. If you're not taking care of the process with the exception, you might be missing out on thing where bot can encounter a situation where bot didn't know what to do, and then the bot will fail. So there will be exceptions which are known. You are aware that if product is out of stock, and if this situation comes, we have a call to action or a corrective action that this is what the bot should be doing. And if there is a exception which is not known, and we are not aware that what should be done by the bot at this point, then you can have a call to action to send an email to this particular ID. Okay. Similarly, for areas where system exceptions occur, where application gets crashed or anything, where the system is having some problem, then there can be respective call to action for the bot that you recover and retry 3 times. If after that it doesn't happen, close the application. So you can define that what should be the call to action. So this is how you will have to do this, and then towards the end you have to define what kind of reporting the bot is going to do, where is this going to get stored. You have to define the paths where the storage will be done. You have to define those paths and accesses where bot has to go to those folders. So all those things should be very, very clearly defined. And once this is done, you're almost done with the PDD. And a lot of times, your developers will prefer that if there is a video available, it will help them to visualize the process in a better way. So if there is a flexibility, if there is a possibility that you can make a video of the process done by that SME, then best. I have always, favored this suggestion by the developers, and I have asked my process SMEs to, build a video. And when you build a video, I have done, this is my personal experience. When you build a video and pass it to your developers, developer come with very less questions. Otherwise, if you just document things, then they ask a lot of questions, that how it is done, why it is done, and so many things. Because for a for a developer, you are the SME, right? Developer is not talking to the end customer. You are talking to the end customer and SME, and you are the custodian of that knowledge. But if you are providing that knowledge in a video form, the developer can pause, and he can or she can see that how the bot moved to next click. So my suggestion, that have videos built that will help you, and your time spent with developers will be less. All right, folks, I believe with this you are pretty clear with the PDD creation, and this is a super, super, super important document when business analysis is considered. Okay, we have paucity of time. We'll have certain questions as well toward the end, so I'm going to cover one small thing very, very quickly, which I believe will be very, very important for you, because as a BA, right? As a BA, you might be doing business analysis for a while. I'm sure a lot of folks who are a part of this session are BAs already, are seasoned BA. But what next for BA? Where those BAs can also get into with the advent of technology in AI, Gen AI, and all these things, right? What is the next progression in BA's learning? So they can be a part of new tools, new discovery tools like process mining, task mining, communication mining, automation hub, right? I talked about this pillar. If you remember this pillar, I talked about this pillar, that there is a way with which automated discoveries can happen. And this is tool based. These are the new products in the discovery stage. So BAs can learn these tools, and then they can become complete from the traditional and end-to-end automated discovery knowledge. Okay. And these things are very, very important, because going forward we will have a lot of utilization of these tools. Task mining, for example, gets into task level detail and understand what exactly the user is doing. It understands the user interactions, and how they are dealing with multiple applications, system, and devices. It gives a view of their day-to-day interaction. My experience with task mining has been amazing, because with task mining, I was able to get a lot of knowledge about the process, which, which was not available when I had a discussion with the SME. Or maybe they were not keen to tell those things, or they were not aware of those things. But when they're working on the process, when they're moving their mouse, when they're moving screen by screen, their actions are getting recorded. So task mining works where there are sensors, neo sensors, recorders, which record your individual step. And with that step, the BAs can gain valuable insight about the process, area for improvement, and optimizing workflows. So just uh, so it's not just about creating a PDD. So these tools, these automated discovery tools, helps you to get a PDD towards the end. An automated process design document comes to you, built by system. But beyond PDD, you get a holistic view that where you can optimize the process, where your SME is spending more time or are getting stuck, and you can identify areas that my people are getting stuck in at this point, where they are asking for support on Teams, right? So for example, you are an SME, you're working on a process and you get stuck. Then you will reach out to your senior on Teams that, sir, can you help me in this? And while we got a scan of the process, we understood that out of 5 SMEs, 3 SMEs are getting stuck at this stage. They're asking for help. then you can understand that this is an area of improvement in this process. This is where you can optimize process. There we can train the SME, right? So more holistic, more comprehensive view about your process gets built when we use automated discovery tools like task mining, process mining, where you get a view of the process that at a high level, not at the task level, at the process level, where is the inefficiency, where is the process is moving from application to application, right? How the IT systems are clubbed together and where exactly the information exchange is happening, right? Where can we optimize the process? So there will be areas where you will get a view of the performance analysis, right? My personal example with process mining, we were doing process mining, and while we got that outputs, we found that there was one particular application which was not at all used by the SMEs, and the management has been spending money on the license renewal of that application every year, and the SMEs were not utilizing that application at all. Then we had a long chat and understood that why it is not being used and what is the reason the SMEs are not using. Then they gave their justification, their rationale, but the management was unaware for 3 years that they are spending money on the renewal and people are not using it at all, because they have identified or found some shortcuts to get the same job done via a different way. And if that shortcut is there, then maybe we don't need that application in our ecosystem. We can get rid of. We'll not spend money, right? So these are the nuances which you will get to understand when you will mine these processes using automated tools. I'm not spending too much time on these specific tools because these are going to get covered in a specific session, but I'm just sprinkling some uh, time on this because these are very, very important tools if you are already a seasoned BA and if you are trying to get into automated discovery. Automation Hub, an amazing classic tool with which you can build pipeline. It allows non-tech users to be a part of automation journey. Those of you who know that their process is cumbersome, it should be automated. You can submit those ideas and these ideas will turn into automation. This is an amazing tool where collaboration happens and people from COE to business to operations to functions, they all come on the same page. And then those ideas are turned into proper automations. Ideas will get a score. The SMEs will get to understand that is the idea even feasible, viable, doable, automatable. If not, then that idea may be dropped. But if you're not submitting those ideas, you will never get a chance to automate that. So these tools will help you to submit ideas and collaborate with the teams. So for example, one team has done automation of SAP download of one particular Z code, and that Z code is being used by multiple other departments. Then in Automation Hub, everybody can see that, oh, this code is available. Can we reach out to the automation team and say, can we utilize this part? Because our people are spending a lot of time. So we will not have duplication of effort in the entire organization. It could be possible that this team is also doing automation, they are also doing automation. It happens in a lot of big organizations. My personal experience has taught me that there are automation teams which working silos in the same organizations, right? So I mean, this is very, very important that if something is reusable, something is available, why can't we collaborate internally and use one way, one-stop shop to move forward as an enterprise? Last but not the least, communication mining, which help in understanding details of your communications on social media, on chat messages, email primarily. We spend a lot of time on emails, but can we do something where our email can be understood and the sentiment out of it can be understood, and a call to action or a response can be generated automatically, with which we don't spend time on writing long emails, responding to them with empathy, sympathy, apathy. If a customer is furious, right, and we want to respond to that person. We'll spend time on, understanding, oh, this person needs to do this, and we'll have to do this, we'll have to add extra discount, this, that, whatever, right? A lot of time you can't just respond to these angry customers in a plain reply. You'll have to, you know, sprinkle some sort of emotions into your email, right? So, and if you don't do that, you know, maybe your CSAT will go down, customer satisfaction will go down, right? So those sentiments, behaviors can be also understood. Your communications with your end customer can be understood. And if that is understood well, you will have a better connect, better relationship while responding to those emails, those messages, those social media posts. And this tool is an amazing tool which helps you to, build uh, great relationships. I mean, I have been able to utilize communication mining in a POC, and I was amazed with the results. And this is going to be one of the greatest tools, in the customer service, marketing, and sales departments primarily. Last slide for me, and with that, we'll be taking questions. So, what is the comparison between automated discovery and traditional discovery? Right? Automated discovery is the one which is done by tools. There are recorders which are put into the systems of the SMEs, and their work gets recorded. Every action of them gets recorded. So with that, you get credible automation pipeline. Whatever they are saying, they are hiding, that problem will get solved, because whatever they are doing, that will get captured, right? You will get a better understanding of the business process. You will understand where you can optimize, where you can do standardization first, where you can do streamlining, all those things. So you can optimize process well. Compliance is created, right? When the SME is doing a process while his work is getting recorded, this person will follow entire step which the compliance team has, or the compliance or audit team has asked to do. A lot of time people do shortcuts, right? That they miss a few things and then they say, oh, not important. Let me just get done with the process quickly. Compliance is increased, so they are following every step. So with that, there is a way with which a new ways of working gets developed, and people understand that the BAs understand that in this process, this compliance part is also important and this should be taken care, right? Build documentation. Documentation creation will be done by a tool, so you don't have to spend time on creating process maps, building blocks, changing colors, on all those things will be taken care already. Visualizations will also be done. So I think that manual effort of a BA is also getting saved here. I think employee experience, I talked about this, when you are able to understand the bottlenecks which your employees are facing, right? The training requirement, people were getting stuck. They will be able to complete their task quickly because now they're equipped with the knowledge, and that knowledge was discovered when the process discovery was done by a tool, right? And then KPIs. KPIs, I talked about, AHT reduction and all those things. So tracking KPIs is also easy when it comes to do discovery via automated tools. So this is going to be the future. This is the future. This is not even future. This is what we are using every day. But those of you who are new to automation, those of you who are new to discovery, those of you who are new to RPA, BA, I think my suggestion is to understand the basics of RPA business analysis via traditional way. Use those templates, because that sets the base, that sets the primary stepping stone of your journey as a BA. Because, and I'm not saying that with these automation tools, your involvement with the SME will get cut. No, it doesn't happen. In reality, you will have to stay aligned with the SME. But those discussions, are not that long and not that specific. But my suggestion is to get done with the traditional analysis, business analysis first. That will help you immensely to understand the foundations of it. And with that, you can kickstart your journey in the automated discovery. With that, folks, I come to the end of my session. I hope it was helpful to all of you. And I now look forward to your questions. I and my colleague Atul will be taking care of your questions now. Perfect. Okay. Yeah, Andrea, over to you.
So I see there are raised hands, so you can unmute.
Hi, Anurag.
Hi Anurag, this is Devadatta here again. I have a questions in your PDD document, right? When you are saying we supposed to have a video as evidence, actually, it's a kind of process what SME will show it to us, because sometimes, right, the tasks will have multiple channel. Like I'll say, go to the website and do some tasks, again come back to your emails, right? In that case, right, will not have a specific video, or are you looking for a recordings like what SMEs will show it to
Recordings.
the?
Yeah, I mean, what I have
Okay,
generally asked them to, that while you are doing it, you do it on a call, that, and you record that call, right?
okay, got it.
And that helps. I mean, I'm not saying that, we can discard those interactions, but I'm saying as an assistance to your developers, you can say that SME, that Mr. SME, when you are doing it next on the 15th of this Jan, can you do it
Correct.
over a call and record it? This will help my developers.
Yes, yes, always it helps actually while developing. I know that.
Yeah, and Devadatta, I have personally noticed then your developers, you know, are not bothering you much. They're not pinging you that why this step,
Correct.
right? So that helps.
Yeah, thank you, Anurag.
Okay, all right. Harsha, over to you.
Yes, Anurag, could you please explain in detail about system exceptions and business exception? Like in detail in the sense, not a broader explanation. We are running out of time. At least an overview. Like for example, let's consider invoice processing as a
Sure, understood.
kind of use
Sure.
case.
Okay,
How can we validate this as a system exception, and the other one as a business exception? Just an overview.
okay, understood. See, exceptions are of two types. Okay, known exception, unknown exception, and known exception. No, sorry, exceptions are of two type: business exception and system exception, right? And
Yes.
business exception can also be of two types: known and unknown. And similarly, system exception can be of two types: known and unknown. I'll describe situation where business is aware that, let's take an example. There is a vendor to whom we charge 35% discount. We give them 35% discount, and to all other vendors we give 10% discount, right? Now if that vendor's invoice is processed, that vendor should get 35% discount, and it's an exception in the entire process. It's a business exception. Basis your past relationship with that vendor, you said that we will give you 35% discount. Now that's a change in the process for those vendor IDs, right? For those vendor, you'll have to run the process differently. You'll have to make the bot understand that no, you can't charge 10% to this person. You have to give 35%. So this is an exit could be thing the past, and maybe some money was already credited to you, and that is not in the record. And when you are processing it, you were not able to understand, what was the balance or what was the past thing. Now those things can be unknown to you. So if you are pretty clear that these are the exceptions which are meant to be considered and taken care while I am finalizing a process, then define it in the known exception category of business. Now coming to system exception can be related to IT, related to, maybe your servers. In my PDD, I talked about a scenario where, the error 404, or where the uh, system is not moving, or application gets stuck, application timeout, or access not there, something like that. And if you are aware that the situation will be there, then you can add delay, right? You can ask the bot to wait for 3 minutes more. And then with that known system exception, you can move further, right? If you had not put that exception, and as per your code, from A to B, you had to move immediately. But ideally, there should be a delay. And if you have not done that, your bot will break, right? So you will have to understand where your system and business exceptions are required to be added in the flow so that your robot works best.
Yeah, got it.
Perfect. Nadia? Anybody? Nope. All right. I think we're on the top
Anurag,
of
there
the
is a
hour.
couple of questions in the chat.
Okay,
Danya,
okay,
you
okay.
can unmute and talk.
Okay, okay. When we don't have our experiences, what do we let me just see the chat box. Okay.
How do we prepare the path? How do we know against what the various values are to be measured when you don't have prior experience as a BA?
Okay, okay. See, first of all, when you are understanding automation, right? When you're learning automation, you will have to understand what all is possible via bot. What can a bot do? So bot can make you do things faster, right? And how they can be able to do that? Because they will be taking care of few things on which you are spending time. So if you are spending 60 minutes on a process, maybe now you're spending 5 minutes because rest 55 minutes are taken care by bot because the download part or the Excel part, reconciliation part is done by a bot. So AHT, right? That is a value you can measure, right? There is efficiency, productivity. Maybe there are some intangible, KPIs which you can identify. I have seen that, improving process control, process compliance, improving working capital. These are also some of the KPIs with which you can understand the performance of a bot. And if you're not aware, a lot of time the businesses will tell you and they will set expectation that this is how we want it. We want the bot to run in this time slot and in this much time. So that you will be able to understand, when you are clear and thorough what RPA can do, what automation can do. And there could be KPIs which your business has set already, and you can then see from your process, are you gonna meet that KPI or not? Okay. Is the process tool assessment the first tool you introduce in your analysis as a BA? I mean, this process assessment tool gives me a view of the entire process because from that I can become capable to understand feasibility, automate, automatability, and complexity of the process. And with that, I get a view whether it's a go or no go for me, whether I should move forward or not. Then, if I'm through the automation potential, complexity, then it is always better that then we talk to the SME for more detailed, granular discussions. So what I have been doing, I have been using these Excel files in my discussions with them. And with that, I get a clear picture whether I shall be doing further sessions with these SME or not.
Hello,
What,
hello.
what is FTE? So FTE is full-time employees. So people who are working in your team in that process, who are taking care of that process, are employees. But then in automation we use a term called full-time employees, because with that we understand how much time is being spent by that person. Maybe that person is not spending 100% of the effort. That person is spending maybe 0.5 time, which means maybe out of 8 hours, 4 hours is being spent on process A and rest 4 hours on process B. So for process A, we can say 0.5 FTE. So FTE is a key word, which is popular in the automation world. And we talk about the count of the people who are working on the process. About the PDD template, can you share with us? Yes, PDD template will be shared with you. Do not worry.
Hey Anurag, this is Ajay. Yeah, Anurag, like as an automation team, like how to convince the operations to accept like this could be done, like though they are not willing, but we know that is feasible, but they don't want to do it
But
because
then you
of
will have
any fear. We can say any fear, like we might grab their jobs or something like. So
this is a very, very
the yeah, yeah, go
very
ahead.
common, very, very common problem, Ajay. I think the fear of losing jobs is what I have noticed is the biggest bottleneck where the SMEs don't support, right? So you'll have to make them understand this point that bot is gonna be your buddy and will help you do more constructive things. And you'll be able to spend time on something which is helping you to do something where some sort of strategy is being built or some sort of utilization of you're utilizing your brain. So this may not come immediately to them. This will not immediately come to their mind, what I have noticed, right? They will
Yeah.
always fear that my company has brought these guys because they want to get done with a few folks from the company, right? This is a general fear. So Ajay, your question is
And
very, very
Anurag,
valid.
sorry to pause you, but here the situation is completely different. I am the SME of the process, and I know the importance of the RPA. When I go
Yeah,
ahead, my manager
yeah,
stops me.
yeah. I
हाँ?
understand. So
अरे
this is a
अरे तुम ये कहीं को बता रहे? He is directly says me. Hmm?
Mhm. Correct. So this is a situation which you'll have to deal, and a lot of times, if you know if the messaging or the narrative from the senior leadership is not clear to the end users, right? Then there is some sort of uncertainty and unclarity in SME's mind, and they don't support. So
Yeah.
what I have done for one of my problem statements when I worked with a IT company, I s- I got a similar situation, and then towards the end, we understood that it is lack of awareness because of which they are thinking like this. We conducted a town hall for around 60 people. We made them understand how automation works and why it is needed. And when the leaders came into picture, they were able to pass that message to their junior folks. And then we saw some sort of smoothness, ease in communication, and with that, we were able to move forward.
Hmm.
Yes, thank
Thanks, Anurag.
Abdul, over to you.
Hi, good morning. Thank you. I have a question about the average duration in month. For example, when you have a classified regarding the RPA project manager, RPA change manager, program business analyst. I have a question regarding this since in my country, there is not and since it is very, very, very new, we still not having all those how can I say positions on my company. When you do this measure, I'm acting as a RPA business analyst and as a developer. Uh, can we like put this all together in the effort to make a real measure of this project process?
Yes, you can. I have seen nuances where, the developer is the BA, right? So it goes stage wise that during the requirement gathering time, developer does not have any role to do. At that point of time, you are spending, maybe 100% time as a BA. And then when the development stage comes in, then you spend time. So maybe stage by stage, you will have to show your utilization in the entire process. So if you are going to be full-time in that project, you will have to show that your effort as a BA will be in this part and then as a developer in this part. So whatever whatever so the situation which you are in can have your involvement in the entire end-to-end cycle of the process. And you can
Okay.
charge that customer, giving them the rationale that, I am the one who is end-to-end custodian from the start of the project as a BA and then maybe as a
On the
tester.
life cycle. Okay.
Yes.
I understand. Thank you.
And it works. I've seen a lot of firms, going lean and they're hiring people like this who are multi-skilled, multifaceted, who are able to do communication with the business and then who are able to code. So it is happening.
Yeah.
So it is possible.
Yeah, it's a little bit hard, but that's the way we
Yeah.
work sometimes since we don't have all that infrastructure on the company. But
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you for the
Yeah.
answer.
Sure. Okay. Perfect. All right. So with that, shall we say bye now?
Sorry, excuse me. I have a question, please.
Yes, please.
So this is about the UiPath implementation stages, starting from the kickoff all the way to the project closure. But, I have a little experience with deploying UiPath. At the time, I didn't know they had the programs and the certification, but it was just one project that I was blessed to be involved in. So when I found out about this, I quickly jumped on it because I wanted to get certified in the UiPath as well so that I can get more opportunities. But I look at the stages and I'm wondering, the discovery stages you talked about today, the discovery aspect of what you spoke about today, where does that fall into these stages? Because somehow I feel like it usually, and this is what we did, it happened before we even kicked off, where we spent a lot of time really going through the workshops and talking about the different processes that they wanted to be implemented, and then taking time to now go through them and make sure that they're feasible and suitable. All this happened even before we started talking about the kickoff and the business analysis. So based on what the stages you talked about today, where would this discovery stage normally be?
Sure. So don't get confused with the kickoff with the sales team members and the business, leaders. The actual kickoff of discovery of getting into automation happens where we are involved with stakeholders and we give them a plan that this is how we are planning the workshops and this is how we are going to start with this department. So there is a kickoff where you meet the customer first and then you introduce them, you give them presentations that this is what automation can do. I'm talking about the later stage when they are convinced that automation is the thing they want to utilize, and then they devise a plan with the vendor that we want to start with department one. And then once that collaboration is done, then you involve your BA to get a high level view or a initial process assessment of the process. This is where discovery start. That's discovery. And once you are able to discover that this is where we want to automate and this is a good candidate for automation, then you deep dive and then you build documents around it. Then you go more detailed in terms of questions, in terms of documentation. And from there, when you are done with the PDD, you're all set to start development.
So are you saying that there's a kickoff before the kickoff? Because the
Yes.
process are not, oh, great. Okay, great. That makes sense. So there's a kickoff and then there's an actual kickoff that starts the stage.
Yes, there is one prime kickoff at the start where your sales team is meeting the CFO. Okay, and they're convincing them that automation is the key, automation is the need, automation is what you need to embrace. Then once they are convinced, then when CTO is convinced, then CFO, CTO meet and they are convinced. Then there is another kickoff where you're gonna meet the department head and then you start your automation journey.
Thank you. That's perfect. Thank you so much.
Okay.
I think that it is time to close today the classroom. Thank you so much for spending extra time with us. Thank you for your effort and for your presentation and for all the valuable things that you have given us today. And I want to thank everybody who has been here to support with the answers and with everything. I hope that everybody RSVP'd for the next session. I put the link many times. I will put it one more time because I really want to see you next time as well, next Monday. And until then, do your homework, go through the learning process. Yeah, see you on Monday, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a nice day.
All right.